Okay, we are now meeting live with Leanne Pashina and Pamela Allen here. Today is December 4th, 2020. And today Leanne is here with us to help us. She's got a really simple tool to improve communication skills, and she's coming through Acorn Life Mastery, and she's one of our founding members. And she's been doing this for a very, very long time, and she's got, I think, a book out called Sit Your Way to Success. And I think that's right behind you
I
too.
do. It is. It's right there.
Yeah, awesome. So she really knows what she's talking about. So Leanne, if you want to just introduce yourself to everyone, maybe tell us, where you've been and what you've been doing the last little bit.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Hey, welcome everyone on Life Mastery. It's a great organization. I'm glad to be a founder of it. And thanks for inviting me today. What I wanted to do today is really introduce you to a tool that I know all of you can use. And I've been in sales for, I hate to say this, but 38 years doing what I've been doing, selling to corporate America. I started out as an interior designer and then went into sales and struggled a lot along the way. And the tool I'm going to share with you today, I kind of discovered intuitively, through a lot of trial and error, basically. But this tool is going to get you to have better communication. And if you're in sales, be able to have better sales, close sales faster. So it's a great tool all around. I think you'll find that you like that. I am a certified trainer in this tool that I'm going to share with you. So I spent time to learn it better. And today what we'll do is just kind of give a quick overview. But yeah, sales, design. I'm also a voiceover artist, so I've learned how to really use this wonderful skill we have as our voice and more on body language. So it's just all of that wraps into communication. And a lot of people are scared of the word sales, but you know what I've learned, Adam, is that sales is really all just relationship building. Because when you have a relationship with someone, people come to you because of your expertise and knowledge, and you're sharing that. And so when your relationship and your communication is strong, sales is really just having a conversation, and then someone just happens to give you a check to do that, which I really like. So you ready? You want to learn more, because I don't want to take too much time, but I think they'll be excited to learn this. So should we go ahead and share my screen and get rolling? You
Yeah,
guys ready?
yeah, let's get rolling.
Okay, let's do it. So communication, we hear it all the time. And what's interesting with communication is we use it day in, day out in everything we do. And yet do you find that it's really never taught in schools? And if you look at corporate, 86% of employees and executives cite that the lack of good communication is really why there's failures in the workplace. So it's a soft skill we all need to know. We communicate with one another, and yet so often we fail at it, which is just not a good key. We're communicating all day long, whether it's in person, you're going having a cup of coffee with someone and you're just introducing yourself across the table. That's one way, maybe on the phone. And now there's so many ways that we communicate, whether it's through email, texting. I mean, there's this WhatsApp, even chatting online, like through Acorn. And if we don't understand how the other person perceives that, well, do you find that your communication fails more than it's successful until you have that bond? So sharing information from one person to another is really what communicating is. And yet, why do we fail so often? Or it takes us so much longer to overcome all the different tech skill, I'll get this right, tech tools that we are using today. It's just all different ways that we're communicating, so much more than 30 years ago when I had started. All we had was in person and the phone. And now we have all these other tools, and I know it's just going to continue to move on. And even virtual meetings, to be able to communicate well virtually, it's another skill that we all need to learn. So where does it all start? If you were to be able to master all of these skills, just think of where your communication would be. You'd be able to connect with people stronger, and you'd build stronger relationships. And as I mentioned earlier, sales is really all about relationships. And we're always selling ourselves when we think of that. And when the relationship is strong, your communication, your relationship will continue to build stronger. Because people aren't going to buy from someone that they don't trust. And if they don't trust you, well, it all starts with building that relationship. So one tool that we'll talk today is it's really based on personality science. It goes back to Hippocrates, which was back about 400 BC. And he was a physician, and he learned that people received his treatment differently according to their personalities and their temperaments. And that's where all this personality science really grows from. Most likely you've taken some form of personality science assessment, whether it's been DISC, Myers-Briggs is out there, there's colors, there's the animals, there's all sorts of different personality tests available. I know I've taken several of them. I've learned a great deal about myself, but what most of them do is they focus on you and not the other person. And the personality tool that we'll cover today is called BANK. And it stands for Blueprint, Action, Nurture, Knowledge. So again, it's 4 personality types, just like everyone else. We like to say we're just like everyone else, but we're completely different. In that BANK, instead of focusing on me, it's more on how I can learn and focus on the people in front of me. So again, 4 personality types. You got the Blueprint, Action, Nurture, Knowledge. And when we're able to judge quickly the type of person that's in front of us, well, what we could do is modify our behavior. You know, Adam and Pam, I'm sure you've had it where you meet with someone and you just click, right? You're just like, that was a great conversation. It goes longer than you anticipate. You guys are just matching up key. And that is really the reason, is because you're clicking with your personality, or your personality are so similar. In sales and in corporate America, what we found is if you close a sale, only 18% of buyers are going to actually work with you if they are not in tune or aligned with their personality type. And yet 82%, when you're aligned, you're going to be closing the sales. I know as I've learned this skill, I have an 80 to 90% closing ratio in my sales. And it's because I know how to modify and align my personality more with their personality. So I'll give them the information that they need. So in sales, it's key. And then think of any relationship. When you can build a stronger relationship and understand what they need. You know, when I talk to Adam, I talk just a little differently than when I talk to Pam, because I understand their personality types and I know the kind of information they need and how they respond and receive that information. And the same can happen with you. So as we learn this information, we'll be stronger and have more relationships in our family, in our community, in our work environment. So let's look at the first personality type. And in 4, you know, we're made up of all of these, although what you'll find is that 1 or 2 are really going to rise to the top. And we like to call this your code. What's your top code? And so if it's blueprint, and if we look at this analogy called, you know, the box, the blueprint person is one who's going to fit inside the box. They like to be in the box. They like to follow the rules. And when we look at their values, they appreciate and value structure, stability, responsibility. And what makes BANK a little different than the other ones is they're based on psychology. We're based on values. You know, it's in your core of your being. So when you're in front of a blueprint personality type, and if that's you, you're going to find that, yeah, you like the stability, you like the predictability. You know, if someone says, hey, I know we had this plan, but let's go do this right now. Oof. You have to let that sit a little bit, right? Because you don't like that constant change. You like the predictability. You're thinking, hey, I had this all planned out and now you want to change my plan. It's a little difficult. And you'll probably get some pushback from the blueprint type. Does that sound familiar? Is that one of your family members? Or maybe it's you. None of these are right or wrong. It's just understanding how we adapt the information and communicate better. So who you'll find biggest occupational types for blueprint is the military, policemen, nurses, teachers. And it makes sense because they like the credentials, the titles, but also the systematic way of doing things. So the typical behavior for a blueprint person, if you're in front of a blueprint person, or if you are a blueprint personality type, that's key. You like the predictability. You like to be on time. Have you ever showed up late for someone and someone's really mad and you're thinking, I'm only 10 minutes late. Well, it's because you said 9 o'clock, be there at 9 o'clock. Hey, come on, be predictable. Protocols, guidelines, that is important to a blueprint personality type. And keep your word. You know, when I give someone my word, I'm going to be there, I'm going to be there because you can count on me. And the ones who, oh, they say this or that and they don't, it doesn't sit well with the blueprint personality type. They want to make sure that they can count on you. And they may be more the perfectionists. Hey, if you're going to do it right the first time, right? Why are you going to try to keep doing it over and over? This is typical behavior for a blueprint personality type. So now let's move to action. Action, red for action. So if we're thinking of this box analogy, the blueprint person likes to be inside the box. The action personality, hey, they don't even want a box. They gotta explode outside the box. Don't give me a box, because their values are that they love freedom. They like flexibility, spontaneity. So do you see how putting them inside a box is going to kill them? Have you worked with someone like this that they just struggle at their work because they're in the wrong position? They have all these rules and guidelines, and they're the type that if you tell them, hey, these are the steps to get from A to D, they'll get to A to D, but they may go from A to C, D to B to A to D, whatever, but they will get the job done, but in their way. So the type of occupations you're going to see more for this is first athletes, because they like to win. Salespeople, usually top salespeople are always the top action type because they want to win. They want to be that top salesperson. So they're usually the type of people that companies like to hire. They're the ones who like to have fun and they're very spontaneous. So the typical behavior for an action personality type, yeah, they're the ones who are going to embrace risk and opportunity. Unlike the blueprint, risk is a little scary for them, but the action person, hey, they're the ones that are going to jump off the cliff on a bungee cord because it just sounds like fun, right? The blueprint person is not going to be the one who's going to do that initially. Freedom, flexibility. Yeah.
Question. Is it possible to have a little bit of both mixed together?
Oh, definitely. So I'll tell you my code because people usually don't guess it. I've learned all these personality types to be able to go in and out. So people always guess me wrong, but I'm a blueprint, action, nurture, knowledge. So I'm just a bank. And I go back and forth because my blueprint type, I want to be in, make sure the plan, I follow it. And yet the action type, I want to get out there. So I'm a little, neurotic and psychotic when I make a decision because it's the blueprint saying, well, does this make sense? And the actions person, you deserve it, Leanne, go get the new car. Who cares what it costs, right? So I constantly go back and forth, and knowing this, instead of being so frustrated with myself, I realize how these values and how to work them together. So yes, most definitely. And how you work with a person who has very high in both of these. Mm-hmm. For me, I can make a decision quickly if you give me the steps and it's outlined. And I can be spontaneous, although I'm not going to maybe jump on it on a dime. I maybe have to sit back for a few minutes to let it absorb, and then I'll go ahead. So you will see that a lot of it is mixed, and depending upon what your first and second code is, your behavior is going to be a little different. So it's really kind of fun. And as we're going through this, you're identifying going, yeah, I think that's more me. I'm more spontaneous. And then on the action behavior too, they're more of a hands-on learner. If Pam or Adam or Mars on. So if either of you are a high in action, you're probably the ones that, you have the directions, but you don't read them. You're just going to go to it because you know how to do it, right? Get the job done. Why bother reading? So then let's skip to nurturing is the third personality type. And if we go back to the box analogy, a nurturer, they're the ones who want to recycle the box. Yeah, see the nurturing, they're all concerned about relationships. Let's be authentic. Community is really important to them. They're the ones that you'll find are usually all the volunteers for charity. It seems every person who works for a charity is going to be highest in nurture because community and people, I like to say that people are their currency. So harmony, they're the ones who just want world peace. Why can't we all get along? That is where that's important. They're great team players because instead of working alone, they want to work with a team. Again, it's all on community and contribution. And so I found too that if I know I'm selling to a person who's high in nurturing, they want to get to know me first. They want to make sure that I have good morals and I'm ethical before they'll ever buy from me. So a lot of times when I make a sales call, if a typical sales call is say an hour, I'll give them an hour and a half because I know the first 30 minutes is going to be just chatting and getting to know them. And once you have that, it's just key. They just want to make sure that moving forward, you're ethical. So typical behavior, they're diplomatic. They're the ones who want the harmony. They make decisions heart-based or intuitively versus logical. It's always, yes, this feels good to me. You can also see that for all you light workers and I'm drawing a blank on, all the other nurturers. Yes, nurturing is going to be highest in your behavior because people come first for you. Others come first versus yourself, which could get you in trouble. You're doing everything for everyone else. And then you forget that, you got to take care of yourself as well. They're great team players again. And they're the ones who they avoid conflict. If there's a difficult conversation, they will put it off as long as they possibly can. And hopefully it'll just go away or they'll just ignore it and find a new friend. And then the fourth one is the knowledge personality type. So again, we have the blueprint who is inside the box, the action person, they don't even want the box. The nurturing person, hey, let's recycle the box. It's all about the community. The knowledge person is the one who engineers the box. Yeah, they're the ones who are going to design it. So for the knowledge personality type, learning, intelligence, logic, those are the values that are really high for them. They can see the big picture. These are the people who are in IT. They're the ones who are the scientists, the physicists, because they can see all of that, the logic and doing all the research. Universal truth is really important to them. They're going to make all their decisions on facts versus, the heart. They're going to take the emotion out of their decision making. Is this starting to sound familiar? And what's interesting is when people marry, we find that usually blueprints and actions marry each other, because the blueprint person is thinking, hey, I need a little more fun in my life. That guy or gal looks like she'd be a lot of fun. This would be great. We'd really make a good team. And the action person is thinking, I just kind of go out and charge it, and I need help balancing my checkbook. And this person is really good with all of that. So they get married. And then what happens? The action person is like, yeah, let's just go. Let's just spend it. We got a credit card. Let's spend it. And then the blueprint person is like, wait, that wasn't in our budget. Does that sound familiar? And then on the other end, we have nurture and knowledge. We typically find that those two types get married because the nurture person just wants to help the knowledge person. You see, the knowledge person is always based, they're in their head. So they're usually socially inept, and they need the nurture person to help them get out a little more and get amongst the people. And the knowledge person is thinking, oh, this person's so nice for me that they would be nice to have in our life. And then you can see they get together, they get married, and the nurture person says, let's go out, let's go party, let's go to this. And the knowledge person says, can't we just stay home? Can't we just read a book? Yeah, you see where it starts to conflict. So it's how do you find that compromise between the two personality types? So have you figured out what your code is yet? For bank, the one thing I like is that we have these cards. And it's a simple tool that you can either use when you're in person, or we happen to actually have it online. So if you're not sure of your code, go to whatsmycode.com. And it's only going to take you 90 seconds or less. You can shuffle the cards virtually online. And then what you'll get is your own code. It's a nice report that goes through your personality type. So you'll gain that information. So I encourage you to go ahead and do that. Whatsmycode.com. And you'll quickly figure out what your code is. So just covering quickly the communication tips, again, on Blueprint. Hey, if you're meeting with a Blueprint person, a great way to communicate with them is to be on time. Give them the facts and detail in writing. Again, they like the predictability, the system. Tell the truth, be responsible, system flow, follow the rules. That's a great way to communicate with a Blueprint personality type. And you Blueprints are thinking, yeah, she's talking my language, right? And then we go to action. Well, be upbeat. For you people who are knowledge personality type, you're going to struggle with this action person type because, you're more about into the facts and you're more low energy. But the action type is, let's get it done. Let's have some fun. So skip the small talk. They're not into all the little nitpicky small talk. Action people have a little bit of trouble with the nurturing because they like to talk about, well, sometimes everything. They're not into all the details and overload. They struggle with the knowledge people because they want to give them every detail and fact. And they don't need that. Just give me the facts, the basic ones, the top ones, and I can make a decision. So pay attention to them too. Typically the action personality type, hey, if they're going to wear a designer clothes, they're doing it so that you pay attention and see it. So I always compliment, hey, nice suit, and be sincere. But they kind of do a lot of it so that other people see them. They like to be upfront. And that allow them to stretch the rules. Don't put them in a box. Just let them know what the end result that you're desiring, and they'll find their best way to get there. The nurture communication type, always be honest and sincere. Again, they're going to be based on their emotion is how they make their decisions. Genuinely listen to them. Spend time listening and hearing them. They need to be heard because they need that strong connection. And don't be too tough. Don't judge because it's difficult for them to take a lot of that conflict. And for the knowledge, well, be prepared, know your stuff. Again, give them time and space to research everything. We like to tease and say, hey, they're the ones who, if you've been in front of someone and you're selling to them and they say, hey, I want to think about it. Well, if you give them all the tools and facts they need to think about it, they really will, and they'll end up closing themselves. because they're going to do the research. This is the type of person that'll spend a couple months researching a car before they ever go out and look at it, because they want to make sure which car they're going to look at. And a lot of what happens is they spend so long looking at the car that when they do go out to go buy it, the new models come out and they have to start all over again. Diagrams, all the facts and all those numbers that they really enjoy looking at for communication tips. And yeah, avoid the chit chat. They're not into all that small talk like the nurture person is. Just give them the facts and let them move forward. You know, the biggest issue that we have in communication is we're not listening enough, because we listen so that we know how we're going to reply instead of listening to really be heard, to understand. And if we start to change, a big part of when we communicate is we listen to understand the other person in front of us, we'll start to hear all those different cues on what their personality type is, to know, oh, they're going to be really interested in the facts. Oh no, she wants to hear more about this, or he needs to hear this. You'll be able to build stronger relationships once you understand the basics in personality science. And I love Bank because it's just so simple to do. So I want you all to be able to learn more. If you want to learn more, I know we're talking about doing more classes in the future, which I'd be happy to do. But as I mentioned, we have this card, and you can use it where you can actually code the person in person if you want, or we have them online, but you can also use it as a cheat sheet, because then you learn all the values. And then if you want to learn more, we have a book, Sherry Trees, the founder. So she's written a book that goes into more detail. If this is something you want, typically, the book online is $30. The cards are $20. And since you're with Acorn, I'll ship, excuse me, I'll put this together for you and send it off for $25. So that's just something that I'm offering all of you if you want that. The book costs me and the cards cost me. So that's actually below my cost. I just want to do this for you and move them, plus the shipping. So it's great for a little DIY, but it's also just a good tool because you continue to learn more information. And then if you're interested, just go ahead and email me. If you go to whatsmycode.com, I'll actually see that you went and coded yourself as well, because I'll get an email and I'll know that what your code is, so I can reach out to you as well. So it's just Leanne at creativelycommunicate.com, because here at Creatively Communicate, we know it's all in how you say it.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Leanne. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
It was, I learned a lot, and I think I'm all of them.
Well, you are all of them. That's the key. We have to remember we're all of them. But I'm sure when you start making a decision, there's certain things that rise to the top. So Adam, I've got to know you a little better. And I know that facts and figures and just the detail, because you do a lot of research. So knowledge is fairly high for you, I would think. You are great at getting along with other people. So nurturing's there too. I don't know that that's your first though. So it'd be interesting to know just where you come out.
Yeah.
And action, you can go into action. You do it in just more of instead of let's all do this, you move forward into action. So that's why I'm thinking that knowledge blueprint is higher for you, and action is going to be your second or third code, just on how the way you react and move in.
Well, I'm definitely intrigued on taking that, and I'm going to do that for sure to see where how I score or how I show up. So yeah,
the report you get back is great, and it's all free. Just go online, whatsmycode.com, and it's free information for all of you. So please take advantage of that. So we've set it up so that you can do that.
Cool, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you know that I've done this before, or I've had the thing, and people. It's funny because even someone who was another person that we both mutually know that does this, consistently miscoded me, because I can be very organized and I'm really good at being structured and doing all that stuff. But there was that, you're definitely this one first. And it ended up that I guess in a way I am, because I'm actually, my nurture and my blueprint are equal on the scale.
Yeah.
But I do lead with the nurturing side. I can.
Yeah, you definitely lead with the other. Yeah. But the other one's key. And on some, even when we have a more full in-depth test too, that we can come back with numbers on just where it is. And my blueprint always rises to the top. I'm about 3 points higher on all the other ones, but all the other ones are all within 1 point. So we like to call, if someone's pretty even, they're divergent. Since I've been in sales for so long, I've learned how to adapt so much. So I'm pretty flexible, and that's where I'm difficult. Normally when I do this live, I've only had like one or 2 times someone has guessed what my code is. But people, I say, oh, nurturing's highest for you. And when people get to know me, they're like, oh yeah, I see that it's not. I can hang in there, but after a while it's like, oh, enough already. Anyway, and it's like I say, it's not good or bad. It's just how we're built. And so what's wonderful is in people and community that we need each other, because you can imagine in all the different occupations, and especially here in Acorn, you know, Adam, when you formed your team, you know, you got Pam for one area, you got Cheryl because of her organization, and just for each person what they do, because then you have the team and everyone has different strengths and what they can support and add. And then with the team, understanding how they communicate better, then you know, okay, I'm going to talk to Pam a little different than perhaps I talk to Cheryl. And you probably are starting to do that. A lot of this, maybe people learn intuitively. The struggle is that there's a lot of hurt feelings along the way when we don't try get it right away. And so that's why this tool is just nice and simple. And I think even going through this for just about 20 minutes, I have a feeling that you have a good idea now. You're like, oh, you know, maybe that's why Adam and I had that fight the other day. I get it now. I did this and he needed it this way. Okay.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Leanne. Any other questions? Marta, I know Keith, you sort of came in a little bit later, but any questions for you?
No questions. I just wanted to say thank you, Leanne. It was a pleasure. I know I came in late and I apologize, but it was a pleasure listening to you speak about this. And I'm more intrigued now than I ever was because of your presentation. So I'm definitely going to check it out.
Good. Yeah, go to whatsmycode.com. And then also, I know that you're recording this, so you can catch maybe the front part that you missed. But yeah, it's fun when the more I learn about this, and you know, you just starts to become a part of you. You can use it in so many different areas. And then what's even interesting is when you're in a group, you can see the dynamics, maybe the butt heads or whatever, and you can step in as the I'm looking for a word and can't find it, but the person that you can kind of negotiate and help them. Oh, you know, I think Pam, Adam, maybe if she said it this way, or I think what she's trying to say is this, and Adam will go, oh yeah, that's what she's trying to say. I get it now. Yeah, because we all do that. So sometimes we click with someone and it's because our personality is in tune. And then I'll have it where once I understand, like, especially if I'm in front of a client, when I've cold called, this is kind of fun. When I realize that they need to talk to someone, I mean, sometimes I've cold called on people in sales going into these corporate environments. I walk out of there and I know like everything about her. Didn't make a sale, but hey, made a friend. So it's a lot of fun, but it really will help you in a lot of different areas. So feel free to reach out if you have other questions.
Well, thank you, Leanne, for your time. Keith, any quick questions? I know you sort of came in late.
I do real quick, Leanne. I'm sorry I got on really late. So everyone thinks you're the nurturer. So if I were to take a guess, which I don't have enough information to make that decision, are you authoritarian?
Oh, I don't like that word, but no, I can be. So blueprint is my first one. So I like to have the details and predictability, and then action is my second. So I go back and forth. So yes, typically in a group, a lot of times I'm called on as a leader. So in one sense, you could say I'm the authoritative person, but I'm not the one to drive it down everyone's throat, as you know, some could be more that dictator type.
Are you familiar with the DISC profile?
I am. So on the DISC, you'd probably think of me as the dominant, the D, and that is not my highest. It's I'm strong in the phlegmatic's a different one. I forget DIS. I forget the other one that I'm strong in. But it's not my first code to always be the leader, because I'm aware of others first. That's why but if you want me to lead, I'll step into that role, but I won't always step into that role.
Well, I'm sorry I missed your presentation. I'm sure it was really, really good, because Adam referred me to signing out today because we were on the phone call with Greg Sanders last night.
Oh, Greg. Yeah, I'm part of Mac's community too. That's a great community. Well, Adam recorded this, so you can go ahead and watch the beginning of it, and you can feel free to email me if you need more info, because I think you'll like the tool. It's simple. like what I always, whenever we present this, people are like, oh, I get it. It's easy versus sometimes like the Myers-Briggs to me, it's a great personality type. It just gets complicated. DISC is good. DISC is probably the one that most corporations know that's been used a lot. And that's another good personality type. It's
So
just,
what is the
it's more
name
in
of the tool?
psychology. Pardon?
So what is the name of the tool? Because I didn't hear. What
Oh,
the
I
name of-
apologize. It's BANK, B-A-N-K. It stands for Blueprint, Action, Nurture, Knowledge.
Blueprint. Say that again. I'll write that down.
Yep. Blueprint, Action, Nurture, Knowledge.
I like that. Thank you.
You're more than welcome. Pleasure to meet you, Keith. I don't think we've met before, so.
No, we haven't. So I'm sure I'm around. I've helped found the Max community with Greg.
Good.
I'm just getting up to par with him.
I know the Max is a lot. There's great stuff here in Acorn, and Max is good too in their genre and world. So it's nice to be in both.
It is. So, Adam, I think you're the one that's a moderator, if I understand right.
Yeah, I think me and Greg both have that strength for sure. So yeah, this is exciting. Leanne, thank you so much for taking the time and giving this free tool out for everyone inside of Acorn and who's on our YouTube channel. So if you're not subscribed, please make sure you like and subscribe this video and share this video with other friends if you think they might get some value out of it. And we are growing right now. So acornlifemastery.com is free to join if you want to join that community. If you want to take advantage of masterminds or you need help with some book studies or specialty workshops, we've got it all going on. So please join us. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope everyone has a wonderful day.
Yeah, have a great one. And if you want to just say in your comments how wonderful I am, hey, that's okay too. Oh, did my action just come out?